was strong. You know, I took the lead on everything. I made sure everything that needed to be taken care of. From Hawaii, I had to fly home. I took care of all the funeral arrangements. My mother just sat back and mourned. I just went into the role that I had already been trained for by him as a father. You know, to have to be responsible and have to be accountable for my actions. But now that the Marine Corps has added all this extra value and all these skills of really how to do what he had raised me to do. And today I know I'm a much stronger African-American woman in general because of my father. So that was the hardest loss as far as I know now I gotta grow up. You know, you get that reality check?
Yes.
Okay, I guess I gotta grow up. I'm no longer, thank you, I'm no longer a little kid anymore. I'm not the cute little girl, and you know, everybody's gotta, you need to grow up and be responsible and do things. So that was kind of the shakeup with that, with my father. My mom, she passed a couple of years later after I left Hawaii, but she was living with me. So that turned into a different type of experience. I was with her through her sickness in her ending years. And again, I was able to operate, you know, at a level of doing what I need to do instead of being just an emotional wreck about dealing with mourning, with losing your parents, basically in my 20s, my late 20s.
And the Marines prepared you for that?
Oh yes, it definitely added value because, you know, learning that there's life and death, but things still have to move forward. Life still goes on. You still have to pick it up. You still have to make things happen. You just can't afford to go sit in a corner and cry like a baby and make sure, you know, that everything fails. You must succeed. One thing that the Marine Corps gave us is that you have to operate at 110%. 100% was unacceptable. Where's my 110? So I kind of am that person, you know, and it's not like I feel like anal in it or anything like that, but I'm always seeking to improve. I'm always seeking to do better. I'm always trying to find more innovative ways of doing something. So user-friendly all day. You know, I don't understand complicated. And the Marine Corps certainly taught me that indirectly, because part of the games that they would play would be something as simple, we need you all to run around the building just to come through that door. It's like, well, why didn't we just come through the door? But that was part of we just need you to do what we tell you to do at any given time, the training that you receive, so that when they really need to tell you what to do for your life, that you'll do it and you won't question it or think it through, just do it. And so that would be the add-on about having family members, losing them, and being able to apply my military skills to that.
Okay. So altogether you were 7 years active duty.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you do immediately after the military?
I relocated to the DC metropolitan area out of North Carolina. My last duty station was Cherry Point, North Carolina, which was the reason why I decided I would go ahead and get out. I'm like, okay, what is with the North Carolina? I left North Carolina, now you're bringing me back to North Carolina. I'm a city girl. And at that time I had lost, you know, both of my parents, so that was my last duty station. I decided to give it a try and see what the civilian world had to offer. And so I came to the DC metropolitan area. I got a job shortly thereafter. You know, thank goodness for headhunters, they call it here in the DC area. If you wanted a job, you just utilize them. Now the sad part about it would be that when it comes to the transition, they didn't really take my military life that I had lived, you know, because now I'm like in my early 30s or so, and they didn't take it and apply it to now that I'm a civilian. The fact that I was wanting to put a suit jacket on and go to work, they set me up for receptionist jobs. So my very first job was working in these receptionist responsibilities as a temp. And then one of the places liked me enough to say, we would like to bring you on board full time. And I took that. But what I didn't know is that I wasn't supposed to just take it. I was supposed to negotiate. I was supposed to have some dialogue and discussion about this opportunity that you're offering me. How many days vacation and so forth. I'm used to a month. No, I didn't know that. So when they offered me the job at $17,000 a year, I was ecstatic because somebody wanted to hire me. So I was just happy to get a job, not knowing, no, I don't want 17,000. You got to give me at least 20, 25, whatever the number was to be. I don't want 2 weeks vacation. I just got used to having 4 weeks vacation. I need 3 weeks vacation. Had no awareness of that because of the practice of in the military, everybody knows what everybody makes. I mean, it's kind of a given, and you don't get to negotiate on things that you want specifically. You just kind of go with the flow of what's been put on the table.
And then you decided to go back into the reserves.
Yes, shortly thereafter, I stayed. I didn't stay away very long because I was contemplating returning because it was challenging. It was a different world, you know. I understood how people become homeless. And the only reason why I never went through a homeless situation is because I'm friendly. You know, the Bible says, you know, if you want friends, you got to first show yourself friendly. Well, I am friendly. Naturally, I'm a social butterfly. So because of that, that favored me to the point I always had somewhere to live. So friends took me in, and a young lady I didn't even know basically took me in. We're still friends today, for that matter. But yeah, the sign of homelessness was kind of there. So I decided to do the reserve just to kind of help supplement this $17,000 a year, kind of keep myself still connected with being a military person and a Marine. So I joined, and I was affiliated with Newport News, Virginia Supply Battalion. And that was kind of a fun assignment because they weren't accustomed to having active duty Marines around. So here I come, you know, this woman, at that point still at E5, and I'm just barking out orders left and right because I'm confused with the appearance of many of the reservists or their behaviors or calling each other by first names. And I'm thinking, no. I'm Corporal Sales, I'm Sergeant Sales, that's Corporal ABC, that's not Dan. Maybe Dan on Monday, but it's not Dan today. So the value of that was Desert Storm kicking in while I was a reservist. And this is kind of the winding down of my time in the Marine Corps. They needed somebody to get these guys ready because our unit was on 72-hour call. So when that call come through, in 72 hours, we were all supposed to report. And these guys were totally not ready. And so I got assigned the responsibility to train up the Marines to make them ready for serving as active duty personnel.
How did you go about doing that?
Well, a lot of phone conversations. I went to some of them directly and just kind of mentoring and talking things through. More importantly, even finding out from them what it was that they would be concerned about, you know, because they were reservists. They weren't accustomed to the day-to-day lifestyle of what a Marine was all about. Looking at their equipment that they had, you know, because we all had to pack this stuff up just in case a call came in. So it was like, just go ahead and prepare. So walking and talking through that whole process. The good news about that particular war was that, you know, that president realized that we went over there, we took care of business, and everybody came home and it was over. So we did not get the phone call and no one had to go. So that was actually the good news about that.
Let's go back to the homelessness. You said you could understand military veterans and homelessness. Please explain that.
Well, to get out of the military and be accustomed to a certain way of life, a culture. I mean, especially if you've re-enlisted. If you've re-enlisted, you have a different culture about you now. Because if you just do one tour, you may be all right. But if you've re-enlisted and put in some more time, a couple of duty stations, you pick up a culture. And so when you come out, everybody's different for the most part. They're having meetings on top of meetings to talk about the same thing, and you're trying to figure out why this just didn't get done. Yesterday, didn't we talk about this the other day? You're being brought in for positions and you're not getting paid accordingly. So you're just kind of like not a match. And so me seeing that people can get fired from their jobs, you know, and like lose their job. You know, they came and closed down the bank I was working for example. I mean, the whole bank, you know, this was during the Federal Reserve issue with savings and loan banks. So I was working for one of those banks and they came and they closed it down. And I'm like looking at all these people, I'm going, oh my God, we are all without a job, just like that, you know? And so how do you go on with that? So that was kind of like, wow, this is how people become homeless. Because in the military, that's just not gonna happen. I mean, even if you have an issue with your wife or your husband, you can just go back to the base basically and have somewhere to live and ship them back home or whatever the case may be. But you're never without a place to stay. You always got a place to eat. Your medical and your dental and your visual care, all of that is taken care of for you. So it's just a comfort zone that you have there that you don't even realize that that's what you have until you don't have it anymore. So that was a little challenging to just think through. But again, for me, I was blessed to have friends that reached out and said, I'm here for you. And so I got through those days quite well.
Okay. And when you finally left, so you did the reserves and you decided to separate from the military completely. Well, not completely, but as an employee.
Once a Marine, always a Marine. That's correct.
What was that adjustment like?
It was tough. I can tell you, I don't know when I stopped saying I'm going to the head. And I'm like, in this corporate America banking world, and I'm thinking, instead of saying I'm going to the restroom, excuse me, I'll be back, I'm going to the restroom, where's the ladies' room, where's the head? And so I don't know when I stopped saying that, but I remember the looks, but not really understanding, and a few people started pulling my coattail to kind of help me through that. So the verbiage, just coming out and being able to learn how to talk like a civilian, especially in corporate America, if I had decided to go off and be a cop or some other area of law enforcement or something like that, the transition may not have been as challenging. But no, I wanted to put a suit jacket on and wear a suit to work. So that was a little challenging. To the point, the vice president that I worked with directly at the bank, which was my second position, now I'm a secretary, she recommended that I take some grammar classes. And she actually pulled me in the office, an African-American woman, and just kind of did a mentoring moment with me. And I received from her, and that's exactly what I went off to do. And as the years went by, I consistently focused on that. Whereas because I was used to using a lot of four-letter words in basic communication. Everybody understood that very well in the Marine Corps. And as a woman Marine as well, and as an African woman Marine, also we got to add that value of how you have to kind of get that stick through itness with these guys and say, I'm not one you're gonna mess with. I'm not that chick. You know what I'm saying? And I'll let you know from the words that's coming out of my mouth that I'm not her. So that was my demeanor when I served. So now I had to become this, hello, how are you today person. So that was a major switch for me. I had to learn how to talk with a lip, So I got better in time, but still, the real me, I got a raspy voice. I can get it in quick. I can switch it on and switch it off now, without the curse words.
Okay. And what are you doing now?
I am the president and CEO of Civility Management Solutions, which we're focused on providing professional services to the federal government, as well as looking into the state and local government as well. And I'm also providing some training and speaking at commercial events. Actually, I just did an event with a couple of major corporations, Fortune 500 companies. So I'm excited about that because I'm being brought in to help them with understanding the military transition.
What major lessons do you think you learned from the military that you still use today in your business?
Leadership. Leadership first and foremost. I'm considered a no-nonsense leader to the point that I don't micromanage at all. I haven't in any of the positions I've had for the most part. I expect people to do their job. If you don't understand something, let's talk about it, let's get you through it. But I need you to know how to do your job. That's important to me. And it's important for whomever you may be working for. So that's one big deal for me. It's being able to be a strong enough leader where you don't shy away and allow people to fail, but you actually get in with them and make sure that they follow to the point of being able to lead themselves. And then teamwork. I'm a huge team player. I love tennis. There's several sports, even bowling I like, but I prefer when you're doing team stuff, like doubles as opposed to where it's all about me. My mother even asked me when I was younger, did I want to do pageants because of the modeling? And I didn't like the idea because that's that one-on-one competition. She's prettier than me, she sings better. Not a match for me. So teamwork was another big deal that I got from the Marine Corps because you are a team. It is my responsibility to make sure that we make it out, not just myself. So those would be the two biggest ones for me. And then after that, it would be flexibility, being able to be flexible and knowing, it's not going to always go this way, change, go over here. I adapt to change very well. Matter of fact, I love change. If things don't change, especially in some improvement or something, I'm getting like, okay, I mean, I know we can do this a better way, or it's just time to change up in some capacity. I need to move my office around, or whatever the case may be. So that's another big deal, is the military teach you how to be flexible, how to adjust, and be able to take control, be proactive, you know, instead of allowing failure to be all around you, but to get in the game and make a difference.
Okay, just 2 more questions.
Sure.
What message would you like to leave for future generations who will watch this interview?
The message I would like to leave would be that, and this is another, I'm about to get emotional, you gotta make it happen. I don't care what environment you grew up in. I don't care what race, what gender. You have to make it happen. And so you have to go after that for yourself and know that no matter what other people say about you, nobody knows you better than you. And so consistently being able to identify with the fact of who you are and living that is crucial so that you can have a fulfilled life. And don't wait too late in doing it.
And is there anything you'd like to talk about that we haven't discussed?
I guess I could quickly talk about being an all-Marine volleyball player.
Oh.
That was one extra perk about serving in the Marine Corps that not everybody get a chance to do for folks that are athletes. No matter what sport you may be playing, if you're pretty good at it, you know, you should just get on the team, and then who knows, you might make it to the all Navy, all Army team and get a chance to compete. But the Marine Corps don't spend money on sports. Their job is to make sure you're a Marine first. And so I like to share that the Navy, the Army, and the Air Force, Puma outfits, Nike suits, all of that. And we come in with trashy polyester. So the Marine Corps need to get on the game of improving that area of their sports availability to how we look when we go out, since we're so sharp all the time in our military uniforms. So that's my quick note about one thing I like to leave.
Yeah, okay, one last question.
Sure.
About the volleyball.
Yeah.
Do you have one memory from competition in volleyball that stands out for you?
Yeah, I kind of closed with that. I jumped right into it. Being, well, I was a decent player, pretty much always the captain of my team. I was the hitter. But when I got to the all-Marine team, it was a lot of great players there. But when it came to competing against the Army, the Navy, and Air Force, we were nothing. We were just terrible. We were just the worst losers on top of that. Other than our outfits look completely different than theirs, they were able to play as a team longer because the military supported it. Whereas the Marine Corps was like, no, we're going to give you all 30 days to become a team, get it together, and then go over there and kick butt. That wasn't enough time, despite all the talent. So that would be the biggest story I would have on the fact of making it to that level. The Marine Corps just falls a little short on supporting it because they say we are Marines first, which I do understand, especially in this day and time of all the wars. I mean, the focus should be where the focus must be.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you. Thank you for your time and for your great stories. This has been the Veterans History Project for 2015. I'd like to thank the offices of Donna F. Edwards, Prince George's Community College, and the Communication Department, PGCC TV, and especially Miss Lori Sales Artis.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here.